Thank you very much. Whilst you are still standing, may I invite the Deputy Director for Ministry of Youth, Mr. Mwakipesela, to lead us into a word of prayer.
A refreshing morning to you all. I would like to salute our honorable members here present, also in particular our Honorable Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Manicaland Province, and all the other invited guests. I've been given the chance to give a prayer in my place of birth. What a coincidence. I was born and bred here in Vumba. Let us bow our heads and pray. To Almighty God, we come here before you this morning. Forgive us our sins of omission and commission. Give us the wisdom and intelligence as we gather here at Leopard Rock, so that we discuss what we have come here for, which is very important for our country, which is very important for those in the country, which is also very important for those out of the country. Thank you, Lord, for remembering us on this day. Give us the knowledge and wisdom to discuss what we are supposed to discuss here, which is supposed to benefit our country and our people. May the grace of the Lord, which surpasses all knowledge and wisdom, be with you all. Amen.
Thank you very much, Director. May we take our seats. And discuss issues of the development of their nation, and it is good for kinsmen to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome you to the Zimbabwe Annual Diaspora Conference, which is going to run under the theme Engaging, Enabling, and Empowering the Diaspora, Catalyzing Investment, Trade, and Social Support for National Development. This theme is quite mouthful, And the words that have been used to craft the theme, they are actually deliberate and they are of profound significance, if I may say. Engaging, enabling, and empowering. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not small words, ladies and gentlemen. So as we go through this workshop, this conference, ladies and gentlemen, let us take note of the significance of these words that have been put in our theme. At this point in time, allow me to invite the Permanent Secretary for Manicaland Province, who is none other than Mr. Maronge, to come and give us some introductions so that we get to know who is who, and also we get to know each other as the people of Zimbabwe. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Maronge. A very big round of applause for Mr. Maronge as he comes.
Thank you very much. Let me start by recognizing the guest of honor for this event, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Professor Amon Murira. I also want to recognize the host of this conference, the Honorable Minister for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Manicaland, Comrade Advocate Mishek Mugadza. I also want to recognize my colleague, Permanent Secretary Guti, and other colleagues who have come from the various provinces who are representing their permanent secretaries. I want to recognize all of you, all the distinguished delegates and participants. I will summarize. I know that we don't have that much time. The Honorable Minister, guest of honor, we started a bit late. In here, we have representatives of local authorities who have come from beyond Manicaland. Local authorities are represented, those in Manicaland, they are here. But we also have some who have come beyond Manicaland. We have representatives of corporates, business associations. They are part of this conference. We also have representatives of various MDAs, some who have come from Harare, and some who are based here in the province. I know that we've invited members of parliament. We are expecting some of them to be joining us as we go. We have amongst us representatives of tertiary institutions from African University, Manicaland State University, who are also part of this conference. I know that the Diaspora are also represented. In here, we have Mr. J, who has come from the United Kingdom, but he is a son of this land. He comes from. We also have some who are joining us via the electronic channel, who are part of this conference. Without much ado, I would like to invite our host, the Honorable Minister of the State for Manicaland Province, Comrade Mishek.
Good morning. Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Dr. Murira. Honorable Ministers of Government that may be here, Deputy Chief Secretary for Policy Analysis, Coordination, Devolution and Development, Planning in the Office of the President and Cabinet, Mr. W. Ero Manungo. I think he will join us. Permanent Secretary for Presidential Affairs and Devolution Affairs, Engineer T. Muguti. Secretary for Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Ambassador A.R. Chimpindi. Secretary for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Manicaland Province, Mr. A. Maronge. Secretary for Skills and Audit Development, Ambassador Ara Chitiga. ZANU-PF Provincial Chairman, Comrade Mukodza. I think he will join us later. Zimtrade Director, Operations, Comrade Ngala. Director for Bilateral Trade in the Diaspora, Comrade Mateta. JOC members who may be here present, all you senior government officials, members of the diplomatic corps who may be here, local government authorities, representatives, CEOs of financial institutions, representatives of business associations, investors here present, members of the Fourth Estate. Let me end with the diaspora community. Members of the diaspora community, you all out there who is following this program, ably here represented by my brother Jay, who I would want to stand up and we give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great honor and privilege for me to welcome the guest of honor and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Professor Dr. Murwira, to Manicaland, to Mutare, to the Vumba, and Leopard Rock, on the occasion of this very prestigious investment conference. Guest of honor, sir, please allow me to also welcome all the esteemed guests from the diaspora community, diverse business interests and governance structures to this, the third edition of the Zimbabwe Annual Diaspora Conference, which will run for the next 3 days. I would like to extend my gratitude to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, the Office of the President and Cabinet, Zimbabwe Investment Development Agents, partners, sponsors, and all stakeholders who have made this conference possible. Your support is testament to the growing Manicaland province as an investment destination. I told people this is the land of milk and honey. The importance of this conference cannot be overstated. It comes at the most opportune time when the government, ably led by His Excellency Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, is pushing for diaspora participation in economic development of the country under the mantra, Nyika Inovakwa Nevenevayo. A strong economy with new investments is the foundation of an upper middle income society, which the President envisions the nations to achieve by the year 2030. It goes without saying, therefore, that the diaspora community is a key constituent in driving the economy of our beloved motherland. We are grateful that through His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, we are seeing the true meaning of his mantra, leaving no one and no place behind. As the reach of this message is evident through this hybrid program, where we will interact with the locally based Zimbabweans and those in the diaspora simultaneously. Guests of honor, sir, invited guests, more than 5% of the total population of Manicaland lives abroad, with 86% of these individuals residing in South Africa, whilst the rest are across the globe. This underscores the importance of engaging with Zimbabweans who are in the diaspora to encourage them to invest back home and thus contribute to the development of our province and the country at large. Ladies and gentlemen, Manicaland province is proud of its diverse investment and trade opportunities in agriculture, mining, manufacturing, tourism, commerce, education, and hospitality, among others. Further, the province is strategically located and well connected to the road and rail network links in the Southern African region. It thus has the potential to become a commercial and industrial hub due to the abundance of human and natural resources endowment. The literacy rate of Manicaland is 93%, by the way. The proximity of the province to the Beira port positions us as a destination of choice for both international investments, especially in the transport and logistics sector. In terms of trade facilitation, the government is at an advanced stage towards refurbishment of the Forbes border post, the construction of a 25-kilometer Christmas Pass bypass road, and establishment of a Mutare International Airport. These are game changers. These upcoming projects, if strongly supported by both local and diaspora investments, set Manicaland province on a course to attaining the national vision of a prosperous and empowered upper middle income society by 2030. The Manicaland provincial economy has been on a rebound, I must tell you, as witnessed by growth in investments in agriculture, commercial, and manufacturing sectors. Local manufacturing sector capacity utilization has grown from an average of 58% to 60%, and the GDP contribution of the sector is on a progressive growth path. Furthermore, in 2024, a total of 19 new investments worth USD 79 million were realized. Dear participants, you will agree with me that the beginning of the 21st century was characterized by significant deindustrialization in not only in Manicaland, but across the country at large. This trend has already been arrested through deliberate and strategic policy interventions. As a province, we are therefore extending generous incentives to all potential investors who are keen to get into value addition activities in Manicaland. Even as we are settled with economic sanctions, the province is positive that through the leadership of His Excellency the President, Dr. Emmerson Damzo Mnangagwa, government has the wherewithal to address this for the betterment of our economy and citizenry, the diaspora community included. This conference thus provides an opportunity for government to engage directly with the diaspora community and to hear their views and areas of interest with respect to investment. As a province, we have seen several new investments driven by the diaspora here in Manicaland, including but not limited to trucking business, residential property development, mining, hospitality, related investments, new shopping malls, establishment of new learning institutions, winery businesses, as well as farming investments. This clearly demonstrates not only the vast investment opportunities we have, but also how ready the province is to welcome new investors into Manicaland. Now that government, through the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Investment Promotion, has brought the third conference to Manicaland, we are confident that this will further grow the confidence among the potential investors. Dear participants, let me take this opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to continue to promote, encourage, and enable participation in investment and development within the province. We are driven by the objectives of enhancing value addition and beneficiation of our abundant local resources and raw materials, as is always espoused by His Excellency. Once again, I'd like to thank our conference organizers for choosing Manicaland to host the third Zimbabwe Annual Diaspora Conference in our beautiful province. To all conference participants, please enjoy the breeze and breathtaking scenery of the mountains of Vumba. Guest of honor, let me assure all those who have come into Manicaland for the first time and those who have been here before that I will be disappointed if they fail to take advantage of their presence here to visit our many tourist attractions. We are talking here about the Mutarazi Falls, the 17th deepest falls in the world, 772 meters deep, with its adrenaline pumping zip line and the nerve cracking please make sure you visit Nyanga and visit that place. We also have many places. We also have here in the Vumba, just across or over the mountain there, we have got the best garden, the Vumba Gardens there. That's where you will see the best flowers you can think of in SADC. I don't want to leave without telling them that we have the biggest tree, the big tree in Chipinge, in the Chirinda forest, 65 meters high, 5.5 meters wide. If you go under that tree, you look up, you pray, your prayers will be heard faster. It would be remiss if I don't also tell you about a new discovery we made at Bechnaf. The river there, Save River, meandered a long time ago and deposited sand across and directly opposite the mighty Bechnaf Bridge Dam. Bridge. When you are at that, we have discovered that it's probably the biggest beach, inland beach in Africa. And we are looking for investors that could put up a 5-star hotel there. We had a program with the Minister of Tourism there once upon a time, and that's when we discovered that this bridge is not just an ordinary bridge. When decorated at night, it becomes something that you have never seen in your life. This bridge is unique. It was built in 1926. It took 2 years to build. Sir Bechnaf, a British politician come businessman, is the one who was leading the construction. The steel was prefabricated in the UK, transported via South Africa to Zimbabwe. The foundation was laid from the stones that were acquired locally. The bridge itself is 329 meters long and 10 meters wide. The guy who designed this bridge, Engineer Frederick, is the same guy that engineered the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Now, this is a spectacular bridge. It's not just a normal bridge. You need a hotel that is juxtaposed across it. I can tell you the rest is history. I'm not finished. Let me talk about the hot springs. You don't want to go back without visiting the hot springs. It's not very far from here, 8 kilometers from Mutare. The hot springs is a unique feature where if you put your feet in the water there, all your bad luck will vanish. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been granted the freedom of the province. And ladies and gentlemen, the grandeur and splendor of Manicaland province has been ably described, but not only being described, but also being sold as an investment destination. Ladies and gentlemen, a very big round of applause for our advocate. And in his speech, he has used the following superlatives: adrenaline pumping, nerve breaking. I'll mention only a few. Honorable Advocate, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, to proceed with our program, allow me to call upon the Director, Bilateral Trade and Diaspora, who is none other than Mrs. S. Mateta, to come and introduce to us our guest of honor. Over to you, ma'am. I thank you.
Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Dr. A. Murwera, Honorable Minister for State for Provincial Affairs and Revolution for Manicaland Province, Honorable Advocate M. Gaza, Honorable Ministers here present, all protocols observed. It is really an humbling experience for me today this morning to stand in the shoes of the Permanent Secretary for Minister of Trade, for Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Ambassador Albert Chimbindi, who would have loved to be with us here this morning, but because of pressing needs abroad, he had to travel to represent the country in solving issues abroad. It is indeed equally humbling for me to stand in his shoes today to present to us and introduce to us the guest of this conference, and who is a professor, a full professor in aerospace Earth observation, unnamed area of vehicle drone technology and applications, and satellite remoting and sensing, and also a lot of things that I cannot pronounce. Our guest has a PhD in geoinformation science and satellite Earth observation from the Wageningen University and International Institute of Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation, ITC, from the Netherlands. Our guest has been a board member of key institutions such as the Research Council of Zimbabwe, the Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe, and also as a vice chairperson of the Forestry Commission, and as chairman of the Mineral Marketing Corporation of Zimbabwe, and also the Mining Promotion Corporation of Zimbabwe, and indeed the University of Zimbabwe Council. Under the leadership of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, our guest has also, as a minister, led the team in the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development to also transform the ministry from a consumptive ministry to a productive ministry, implementing heritage-based education 5.0. The Honorable Minister, who is none other than our Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Dr. Amon Mugwira. Let's all rise up and welcome him.
Thank you very much. It's very embarrassing to be introduced, but it's okay. We can have our seats. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honorable Minister Mkadza, Permanent Secretary Mkuti, Permanent Secretary Manicaland Province. I'm really very humbled to be here just to share our perspectives, to contextualize what we are trying to achieve as a country in total, because a country is composed of people at home and abroad, and these people have a common objective. And the common objective is for prosperity. The common objective is to have happy and fulfilling lives. That is the objective as it is codified in our Constitution. Chapter 2 of our Constitution, Section 8 of our Constitution spells out the objectives of this country, which are the objectives of any human being, but codified for us. They say and we say, as a country, we want to build a free and democratic society that is sovereign, but inside that country, we are working for prosperity, we are working for happy and fulfilling lives. This is the common objective of this country, and it's in the Constitution. And as His Excellency the President says, Vision 2030 to become a prosperous, empowered society that has attained at least an upper middle income. He is being constitutional. He's interpreting it from the Constitution and doing the programs that are based on the objectives of that Constitution. And on Section 13 of the same Constitution, we are talking about national development. And national development that is rapid and equitable, that is devolved. And that is very important. Lest, because working with an objective and with a target makes work less tiring, because you know exactly where you are going and when you are where you are supposed to go. As we do this, we always have to answer the question of what are we trying to do? It's very easy to always state what we want. We want this, we want this, we want that, we want this. Wanting is easy. We even learn wanting at infant level. When we are infants, we say, want water, I want food, I want this, I want that. Wanting is easy because it's a statement. How to achieve that is where the work is. Because we want, but how? So in order for us to have the results of a happy and fulfilling lives, of a prosperous future, that is what we want. But the issue is how we achieve it. On Section 35 of our Constitution, Zimbabwe must protect its citizens and stand for the interests of its citizens at home and abroad. So location doesn't matter. It could be a matter of means, but the objective is to protect the interest of every Zimbabwean, no matter where they are, underwater, in space, in any country on the surface of the earth. We might fail to do so, but we must protect their interests. That is the objective of this country. So, I just want to start by saying, I have not yet started. Section policies and laws that govern its development trajectory. I'm saying this as a sub-minister of Foreign Affairs. A sub-minister because this ministry is basically president's prerogative. So as a sub-minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade and standing for my boss, who is the real foreign minister, who is the president, the ministry, so that they have happy and fulfilling lives. So, but let's say, what makes people prosperous? What is exactly that we need? You know, I'm going to say this because we don't meet quite often. So whenever I have this conversation, I take my time. Don't think that is an opening remark. It's a presentation that I'm making. Human needs. Let's be very simple, extremely simple. When you say, Secretary Mguti, I am happy, what would have happened to you? What would have happened to you? Surely you must have eaten For you to be told like that, surely there's a lot of food that you took. You must have drank some water. These are human needs. Because sometimes people confuse prosperity. Prosperity is very simple. It's a simple equation. If we say prosperity and we call it PR, just as a representative, prosperity PR is equals to plus food and drink, plus shelter and clothing, plus water resources, plus transport and communication, plus sleep and health. This way we are, it's a whole sleeping industry here. We're in this hotel for sleeping and for health, squatter and so forth and so on. And every time we want things to change so that we enjoy more. So I'm trying to be as simplistic, because sometimes when we talk about national development, people think that there must be something that must happen outside of those things. No, there are those things. And the more we understand that it's that symbol, the more we work towards that objective. Because sometimes, when you are trying to run a country, Zimbabwe started running as a self-determining country 45 years ago. And sometimes you say, what is running a country? What are the components that we need to concentrate on? People need to eat, but we always have to answer the question how to produce that food. That's where when the food is finished, people get confused. Oh, they ate everything. And then how to get the next becomes a problem. So laying the foundation for the development of the country through making sure that whatever you need, you produce, is very important. It's easy to want. And it's actually legitimate to want. But it's illegitimate not to work towards what you want. It's illegal, actually, to be lazy. So, we must be working towards that. So I said in an equation form, PR, which is prosperity, is equals to food plus shelter plus water plus communication plus that. It's easy. So what is poverty? Poverty is the opposite of that. Poverty, no food, which means minus food, minus drink, minus shelter, minus water, minus transportation, minus sleep, minus everything. Everything is in the negative. If we are then able to characterize life like that, we are able to work towards an objective. Instead of just hitting about the bush, hey, there are no jobs. How can there be no jobs when you actually don't have food? And yet you have rain and soil and hands and brain. So, how can a country that is importing food not have jobs? What is a job? How can a country that does not have enough clean water not have a job? How can a country that does not have enough roads not have a job? What is a job? A job is what you do in order to achieve prosperity. So it's work. Always it's in overalls, and those overalls have grease, and it looks like work. So before we talk about any policy, agricultural policy, this policy, and be sophisticated in eating nuts, let's be very simple and Just think about it. You might then ask, so what has this to do with foreign affairs? It has everything to do with foreign affairs. Because everybody who is conducting business on behalf of the people of Zimbabwe here is trying to make them eat, is trying to make them drink, is trying to make them have shelter. If you find out you don't know how your work is contributing to that, that's how we do rationalization. And if you can answer me, what are you doing in that scheme of things? How are you contributing to Zimbabwe's prosperity? If you can't answer that, then you're a passenger. And a country cannot have passengers. Who do you want to do the food for you? Who do you want to do the water for you? Who do you want to all things? You want to go that want. And everybody else must come to your table for you to put what you want when they are working. So it's about work. I hope I'm being clear here. Because the Constitution says we must work for the prosperity and for the happiness of the people of this country. But we know that happiness only comes when people have food. We know happiness comes when people have shelter. We know this year we'll be very happy. You know, there's plenty of food to the rain came, and so forth and so on. So that's it. So that's why the president says, okay, for people to have food, I shall have, first of all, for growing the food, I shall have the Minister of Agriculture. So that people begin to produce food. But for them to work so efficiently, I need scientists and engineers to improve the crops and I need transport, but it's around food. Then I need the Minister of Foreign Affairs to make sure that we can coordinate as a world in order to meet that very same objective of having food. So, our foreign policy provides us with the means to advance the provision of human needs and national interests. If you say this is hurting our national interest, all what you are saying is that it's taking food away from our mouth, it's taking security from our mouth, it's taking health away from our mouth, it's taking things away that we need to be prosperous, happy, and have fulfilling lives. That automatically becomes a threat. But it must be based on stable principles as per provisions of our Constitution. So, we say we want a foreign policy that is stable, that is mature. We want foreign relations that are stable, that are mature. We want to interact with the world in a very mature way, so that when our people are wherever they are, they feel secure, they feel confident, they feel like they can always come home anytime. I normally give that diagram to explain what stable means and what unstable means. If you look at those red lines, if you look at the blue line, there's a future in the blue line. That red line, don't not kuwukura. Be stable so that you look for your food nicely. Be stable so that you look for your water nicely. Be stable so that you look for your shelter nicely. Be stable because when you have got a friendly world and friendly neighbors, you are likely to eat nicely. But of course, you want the reverse. But mostly the objective is to be stable and nice, be born in dignity, grow up in dignity, die in dignity, and go to wherever in dignity. Generally, the purpose of our foreign policy is to enable our country to thrive within a favorable international environment by devising innovative ways of reacting both to opportunity and adversity. When the conditions are adverse, what do you do? When conditions are favorable, what do you do? How do we react to adversity? How do we react to opportunity? Opportunity. In a calculated way. When we have our people moving outside, is that bad? No. Our people, when they are skilled, they can be here, they can be elsewhere, as long as they know there is home. People have talked about terms of discouragement, such as brain drain. There's nothing like that. We get 2.2 billion annually out of our people who are in the diaspora. So when they drained. So we begin to think very carefully, because certain words are bound to make you get discouraged. Think that the world has ended because they invent a term for you. They say if you are eating milk, you are poor, and if you are eating meat, you are rich. So then you begin to believe that eating milk is poverty. And every day you see a cow, you want to kill it instead of milking it. In this regard, Zimbabwe's foreign policy is meant to safeguard our prosperity, our happiness, and the fulfilling, to have our people have fulfilling lives. In order to achieve this, we see our foreign policy as a reflection of our domestic policy. I want us to understand exactly what a Ministry of Foreign Affairs is all about. A Ministry of Foreign Affairs is a conduit of linking the domestic policy, the domestic environment, outside environment. For the purpose of happiness, for the purpose of having fulfilling lives. You never find this diagram on the internet. It's ours. For thinking. So all our government agencies and departments. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is every ministry, if you want to call it. We're a coordinating agency for foreign affairs. So I understand. And you want to link with an education institution in Mozambique for the fulfillment of domestic policies to make sure that we are good. We take you through that fan, link you together with that band. That's our work. If we have our people outside the country, we make sure they come home through the same way, participate the same way, have opportunities the same way. So we coordinate science, technology, innovation linkages, we coordinate security linkages, we coordinate economic linkages, we coordinate everything, boom, 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 boom. And what we are trying to do, and what we are doing actually, and the president takes this very seriously, there is nobody who should get out without getting out through that conduit. If you get out without getting through that conduit, it will be very difficult to coordinate you, and it will be very difficult to protect you, because we don't know where you are. I hope you understand. We don't know where you are. Wapoya. So a country that is stable, that is not, that knows what does things that way. You touch them wherever they are, you touch me. You praise them wherever they are, you praise me. They have problems wherever they are, I have problems. They have opportunity wherever they are, I have opportunities. The Constitution of Zimbabwe, Section 12 of that Constitution, outlines the objectives of Zimbabwe's foreign policy, which are: one, to safeguard Zimbabwe's sovereignty and interests; number two, to respect international law; number three, promote peace leaning and with international and regional organizations that stand for peace and development. That's why we belong to ZADC. That's why we belong to the African Union. That's why we belong to COMESA. That's why we belong to the United Nations and its agencies. We are asked to do so through our Constitution. Not that the Constitution dictates to us. No, we make the Constitution so that this generation, the next generation, and another generation is directed exactly how to behave. Because we do what we write and we write what we do. I hope I'm clear. We are just codifying our own beliefs and behavior within our Constitution. So in the Second Republic, I repeat, we are pursuing a stable and mature foreign policy. A stable and mature foreign policy. We no longer want people who stand on television and shouting at people. Why? You went to a president. We speak through one voice. One. That protects our diaspora, that protects our home turf. No confusion. And under the influence, why did First of all, before you relate to anyone, you must know that it's the responsibility, your responsibility. Wherever here or outside,
It's yours.
it's yours
To build this thing. You can look for partners, but it's your responsibility at the end of the day. But we do that with a very conscious mind. So a liberated mind, so that you can relate to others. You cannot relate to others when you are not yourself. How can a foreign government have a foreign policy? Zimbabwe's government is the one that must have a foreign policy, not a government that does not represent Zimbabwe. It cannot have a foreign policy. I'm trying to be explicit. I'm trying to give an example which is funny in order to give. Yourself, Secretary Mkuti, you must be Zimbabwean first and foremost if you can have a foreign policy. Because if you believe in country X, you can therefore not have a foreign policy. Because you are foreign. You're thinking. I hope I'm being clear here. Foreign policy is for those people who themselves. Foreign policy assumes a sovereign state. It assumes people who have got to make their own decisions collectively. It assumes people who are here. When you're in the diaspora, you are exactly part of us. Therefore, you must be protected, but at the same time, you must protect. Through your behavior, through your demeanor, you must make sure that when you come home, there's a home. You cannot say, go, you want to come at the airport and you water. You working against water where you were. We're working against food. We're working against transport. Look here. Preventing food from coming, we're preventing water from coming. So how do you expect things to be okay? So be a good Zimbabwean, underground, above ground, in space, in Spain, in Portugal, in Germany, in Russia, in China. Be a good Zimbabwean. If you have complaints, come home and complain. Don't complain there. They will think you are mad because they are themselves. Now, to fact, if they hear a person shouting at their country when they are in a foreign country, oh, you just look and say, right. Sometimes people don't know because of colonization. People think that the world cares more than they do. They just take you as a comedy. They laugh. They go home and eat maput. You see, they'll be eating maput, hearing you shouting at your mother. Oh, you know, there's nothing. No. Let's talk about food. Let's talk about shelter. Let's talk about how we can make this place nice. Isn't it? If you are angry, don't keep talking, because an angry person should never talk because you'll never make sense. When you're angry, go into a corner and pray to your ancestors. I'm trying to say, use your brain, be conscious. It's part of our doctrine on foreign relations. Be yourself. Then, leaving no place and no one behind, at home and abroad.
Zimbabwe always stands for equality, sovereign equality of nations. We don't have big countries, small countries in our mentality. We think everybody has a sovereign right to exist at international level. At home, we believe everyone everywhere. No place or no one should be left behind. I've said our domestic policy, our foreign policy is a reflection of our domestic policy. Leaving no one in no place behind. We believe it in it here, we believe it in the international world. And we're a friend to all and an enemy to none. What does that mean? It means we don't look for adversarial relationships. Never, not at all. If it was not clear in the past, it should be clear now under the Second Republic. We are not looking for enemies, but doesn't mean that people might not hate us. But it's not us who would have initiated that hate. And we don't hate back, we just defend ourselves. I hope you see the difference. Even Chibadura saying, Vengai zvenyu, inini handikuenge. A long time ago, it makes sense now. It doesn't mean that that's why the country has a defensive posture. The Zimbabwean is called the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. It's not called the Zimbabwe Forces. It's called the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. It's not a marauding army. It's a defensive mechanism at home. And whenever we go outside, it's for peacekeeping, so that we don't leave anyone behind. It's for peace and security. When we go to the United Nations peacekeeping mission, it's for peacekeeping. When we go to ZADC standby force, it's for peacekeeping. When we go to the African Union, it's for peacekeeping, so forth and so on. We don't invade. We don't intend yesterday. We didn't intend yesterday. We don't intend today. We don't intend tomorrow. So if you hear somebody trying to say, we want to go to the neighbor and do this, no, it's not in our belief system. It's not in our constitution. It's not in our lives. It's not in our Ubuntu. We don't invade people. We're a friend to all, enemy to none. So when you become a leader tomorrow, whoever you are, in this room and outside, you must know that Zimbabwe does not invade anyone. Neither does it hate anyone as a matter of policy. It can only defend itself against the haters, but it doesn't hate back. I hope you understand. Strong people don't hate. Strong people look. Some people think it's strength to shout. No, it's not. And if you want to see the reaction of our president, His Excellency the President, oh, you say a lot of things, you'll be looking. That's the national character, and that's constitutional. And we live like that, and it's good. Behold. We're open for business. Because business is the one that makes us have food. Don't forget the diagram. It is the one that makes us have food, have shelter, have communication, have water, have health, have sleep. Business is the how for us to attain what we want to attain, for the purpose of prosperity, happiness, and fulfilling lives, as stated in the national objective on section 8 of the Constitution chapter. And we say, whatever we do, we shall forever be free and sovereign. Don't ever go outside and try to think that we can give up our independence. Zimbabwe is not for sale. be angry but never utter those words of compromising our freedom and sovereignty. Complaints are needed, but you can complain through the law. But leave the pot untouched. So, so what am I saying? These are our guidelines on how to behave in the international environment. We codified this and was approved by Cabinet in February. This is what we have. We believe that this is very important as we move into the world. We then developed in the process of developing our policy, which is our policy, because we have the constitution, then we have the doctrine, then we have the policy. Then after the policy, we have the strategy. Then after the strategy, we have our implementation plans. Then we can behave. Contained within the constitution, we have our doctrine, we have our policy. What are the pillars of our policy? 1, to promote a peaceful and secure international environment for Zimbabwe's development. Number 2, to facilitate local production for international markets to promote trade. 3, to promote international tourism for Zimbabwe's prosperity. 4, to strengthen and develop the capacity of Zimbabwe's foreign services architecture. When we say foreign services architecture, we are talking about structure of our embassies and representation across the world for the purposes of peace and prosperity. I want to continue talking about it. Our war finished with the war of liberation, where we were fighting a violent system. It ended there. In future, it's peace, economic prosperity, and that's it. We only hit what comes to disturb this, isn't it? But in defense, not in offense. And promote international cooperation in education, science, technology, innovation, and culture. And promote and protect the interests of Zimbabwean citizens abroad. That's why we have consular services across the world. It might be a matter of not having enough money, but it must be done. It must be done within our means and within the means as provided for by the United Nations. Where we can't, I think the United Nations sometimes steps in to help us to achieve the same. So, with this, we then, I want to zero in on the protection, promotion and protection of the interests of Zimbabwean citizens abroad. Promoting and protecting the lives and serving the interests of Zimbabwean citizens living abroad, supporting the border security management, facilitation of legitimate travel, ensuring the integrity of diplomatic and service and visa issuance process, and fostering economic growth is a key responsibility that we have through our embassies and consulates. Consulates play a vital role in spreading diplomatic representation and services to regions of the host country and beyond a host country, embassy in the capital. Embassies and consulates are an essential part of our foreign policy. The protection and promotion of the interests of Zimbabwean citizens living abroad is vital in terms of Section 35 of the Constitution, And it's also a way in which we can have skills exchange, knowledge exchange, and so forth. And we shall enhance our efficiency in responding to all consular needs of our citizens living abroad. Our codified foreign policy is based on our doctrine, and the actual document documenting what I'm saying will be out this month. We are enhancing our foreign policy elements to refocus our diplomatic resources to suit Zimbabwe's ever-evolving needs. Economic diplomacy is one of the means through which we shall save our national interests. We have mapped the whole world currently in the past 6 months. 2, can I have the trade thing? We've done this through Zimtrade to find out who are we trading with. Green, bright green, shows the countries that are at the top that we are trading with. And there are 4, which is South Africa, which is UAE in the Middle East, Mozambique, and China. To some extent, Namibia. All other countries are places which are presenting opportunities to expand our trade. I hope you see it very clearly. This is not from the internet, it's from us working. People are working very hard in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. We are trying by all means to be as systematic as we can to avoid the red line. Now, what we then produced our strategic plan 2025 to 2030 with the following elements: the promotion of local production. We want to promote local production. So the diaspora must participate in local production. Wherever you are, you must be looking for markets for local products, so that when you come and participate in the economic activities here, you already know the market where it goes. No abracadabra. You are the best to know, Ms. J, what people in the UK require. And you are the best to know that you have an opportunity at home to go and produce exactly what they require with the standards that they require. And therefore participate in the production here and close the loop. And the wheel starts going round. We have done our diagram very nicely. Can you have a diagram which is based on heritage, that one? Where it goes up with the pillars and the enablers? Right. At the base is our heritage, which is our competitive advantage. You cannot do grapes as well as Italy does. What you can do better is and mawuyu. That you can do better. Because grapes are for the Mediterranean climate. Although Zimbabwe can also do grapes, but you cannot do it as competitively as where they grow. You can never grow apples better than Kazakhstan, where they grow wildly. Just like if you look here and you see matamba, it's a nice fruit if it is processed. That's your heritage. Why do you want things that you don't produce? That's the origin of our poverty. Do you hear me? That's you. The basis of our poverty is to try and make, you call things that you don't produce, you call it a basic food item. It's not a basic food item. Things that you produce, which are growing here, can constitute the basic food item basket. If you say elk meat, those are elk, or caribou, those funny. You say it's basic need for Zimbabweans is elk meat. You are calling for poverty. If you say goat meat, you are likely to get it. Get it. So you mean we want to get a lot of foreign currency in order to go and buy elk meat? I'm just giving an example. So your basket must be defined based on sustainability and what your environment can provide. So now people are coming and doing the mauyu for us, and they call themselves investors. And now your mauyu, and you are looking at them yourself. You don't see opportunity. Because they were labeled to you, if you eat mauyu, you are poor. That's poverty. So it got into your head became foreign. So you don't have a foreign policy. You are beginning not to even like rapoko. That's why we are moving on gastronomy tourism these days. So that people see that you had been removed from your own environment. You are a fish which was taken out of water and just given a little water to survive, a little water to survive. You're out of the pond. Go back to the pond and you find out that there's no poverty here. There's poverty of ideas. There's no poverty here. The muyu tree will always give fruit whether there is rain or no rain. So why are you busy irrigating things that don't want to grow? That's why we said consciousness is very important in our foreign policy. We are not saying we don't irrigate for luxuries, we do. But for basics, please don't. Because you will forever be poor, guaranteed. That's why you should go for traditional grains. That's why the president says, go for traditional grains. And for our bread, because we like bread a lot from wheat, yeah, we can irrigate in winter. Because we just have a good climate. That's the good thing about it. But you can't start watering fruits and trying to export to a country where they grow wildly. What kind of madness is that? I hope it's clear. So our heritage is our base for our behavior. So we shall configure ourselves in the exploitation of our heritage. And we shall then have pillars for economic development, which are local production, international trade, tourism, scientific cooperation, political cooperation, social, cultural cooperation, consular services, policy, in order for a prosperous and happy, fulfilling lives for Zimbabwe. That's our diagram of how we want to move. So, our strategic plan is out. And 2025 to 2030. The doctrine is timeless. The policy is a longer time. The strategy is 5 years, because strategies change from time to time. Because if you can't use a plane, use a bus. If you can't use a bus, use a car. If you can't use a car, use your feet. That's strategy in order to arrive where you want to arrive. Then, we said, in order for us to have a strategic plan that is implementable, we have developed programs. Like Zimtrade, we have converted it in terms of perception into what we call our logistics, a trade logistics company. We must have warehouses across the region, and we must move into those regions. And that was conceptually thought about in October. In November, isn't it? November? Then we said, let's do it. And already we are in Zambia, in Kasumbalesa, where we are building warehouses for Zimbabwean goods so that they can go there. Because you cannot say, we want to be prosperous. We want. And you repeat what the president is saying. An upper middle income economy by 2030. He has given a command. You work. Don't repeat what he has said. Do it. I hope I'm clear. Because we always like to repeat to show that we are aligned. Don't repeat what he has said through your words. Repeat it through action. Stand in front of people. Hey, so 2030, President havasi kuti dzokora zvandataura, vari kuti ita zvandataura. Kwanaiwe. I hope I'm being clear. Why I'm saying like this, discussions, you are well guided. You are not out of context. So we are moving just 2 weeks ago when we were Fishbay, trying to find out where we can put Zimbabwean goods. But Zimbabwean goods are produced through production, not words. Secretary Manikalend. Yeah. Don't repeat what the minister is saying. Do what he is saying, so that his words become reality. Alignment is not through repeating words. Alignment is through hearing. Listen. Listening skills are very important. Listen, do. Listen, do. Listen, do. So, what am I saying to the diaspora? Work with Zimtrade. That's exactly my message. Work with Zimtrade because we are working. Zimtrade, I said, map the whole world according to its trade potential. And they did. Then map the whole world according to what we are producing. So do a Zimbabwe opportunities map. Can I say? We said, map this country. Each province, what does it produce? Then how do we link it to the international world? Not just saying, we have abundant natural resources. We have abandoned this. We have abandoned this. Abandoned where? I'm saying, seriously, I mean, I forgot to say before I started speaking. What I'm assuming is that I'm talking to serious people. And I think they are serious people. If you see coming to the mountains, sitting here, very serious. So it's about, we are talking about serious stuff here. Very serious. Don't look at me and say, Amon Murura, maybe just, you might not like my face. So just listen to what I'm saying. And just say maybe the voice coming from range somewhere. So with this, we map our production capacity, what we have, Then we put it in the world, and we have people all over the world. We've got about 2 to 3 million people. I think about 2 million outside. How many do we have? Foreign affairs? Or about 2 million? 2 plus Wemateta? How many people do we have outside of this country? About 2 million plus. All those people, when they have the right frame of mind, and they know that they can participate at home, and that they know that it's not a crime to be in the diaspora, and that they know that they are under protection from their own government, and that they know that people at home love them, and that they know they can invest at home, and that they know they can be prosperous too. What's the problem? That's all what we're trying to do. Every Zimbabwean, underground, on the ground, in space, in any country, in the ocean, is a Zimbabwean. And respected as such, opinions respected as such, as long as those opinions, at the end of the day, don't violate the very basis of the existence of this country. But of course, you can also be accommodated very nicely in Zimbabwe's jail. They are still here. If I do something wrong myself, we have a system that can punish me, isn't it? Yeah. It's called reformation. We no longer punish people, we reform people. But of course, I'm just trying to be funny, if I can. We have now gone to the extent of, we are now in the process now of doing SOPs for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, for international relations. Why are we doing those SOPs? Can you just show me? They are almost done. This is the first edition that came 2 days ago. We have had a lot of complaints. This thing is not happening. Our letters are not ta-ta-ta-ta. I said, no. Let's sit down. Let's do our SOPs so that we are able to deliver to the diaspora, to everybody who wants our services, to deliver. Because sometimes we forget, we become too important. We beg to get into an office, and when we're in the office, tawana mambo atichadushanda. It's unfortunate. But you know it happens. If you were expecting a speech, sorry, I'm not going to speech for it. Just going to share ideas. I'm not saying I'm right in everything that I'm doing, but I'm just contributing. You contribute too. I hope it's clear. Nobody knows everything. I'm just contributing. Yeah? So we are now doing our standard operating procedures, and we shall subject them to the Standards Association of Zimbabwe for ISO 14,000 qualification anytime this year, so that we begin to serve. Our job is to serve. I hope I've laid out the policy framework in which you will be operating as the diaspora. We have Zimbabwe's foreign doctrine, new. It was always there but codified. Zimbabwe's foreign policy, codified. Zimbabwe's strategic plan, codified. Zim trade strategic plan, codified. Zim trade programs, codified. Standard operating procedures, codified. We want order. With order, we will always succeed. With that red line, you will always fail. With that blue line, you will always succeed. Can you bring it back? Because that's my conclusion. With that stable blue line, we'll get somewhere. With Maputa Kukura, you get nowhere. As a country, we need to be organized. And we don't just have to wish to be organized. We have to be organized. And it takes hard work, but focused. Zvevanhu vanorepeata zvatataura hatidi. Tinoda vanhu vanodi vanoita zvatataura. I hope I'm being clear here. Because you know what I'm talking about. You know, people repeat, it's almost like a car which is in neutral. It's going nowhere. It's simulating movement, but it's not moving. So we don't want Zimbabweans to be in neutral and almost think that there's somebody else who will do things for them. Do you know? That's one of the problems, because one of the issues is that we are very literate people, but we now have to work on our education, because there's a difference between literacy and education. If you can read and write, it doesn't mean you are educated. You are literate. You can read and write, but read what and write what? Now we are in Chimrenga Chepfungwa Imbukela Wengondo. Consciousness, freedom of the mind, thinking country, thinking about yourself as part of a matrix, not an individual. Let's work as a team. That is the message. So our foreign policy is a reflection of our domestic policy. And what we want is to create an environment in which Zimbabwe can thrive, an international environment that is full of peace, that is full of dispute resolution through peaceful means, that is cooperative and so forth, that is non-adversarial. So whenever you think you are defending Zimbabwe, don't defend it by insulting people from other countries. Defend it by producing. Defend it by showing that you are good and that you don't listen to whistles. I hope I'm clear. When the president says, Nzo inenge ichi famba, I blew you. Nzo you. Ready. Oh. We'll be going. The more we are like that, the better. The more you know that the development of this country is responsibility, whether you are at home or abroad, the better. The faster you get it, the less frustrated you will be. Because sometimes people expect things to happen, but they don't want to work for things to happen. They always think there's something wrong with the director. It's the director. It's the minister. And so is that a debate? What to call you wrong? So what am I trying to say? Let's be serious. Let's move. Let's support each other. The diaspora is part and parcel of this country. And they have opportunities where they are. If they have opportunities, let's use them. If they have problems, let's help them. Simple. I said where we are faced with opportunity and adversity. Where there is adversity, where they are, let's help them. Where there is opportunity, let's use it for their development and for this country's development. I think the policy position is very simple, it's clear. Where there is adversity, we uplift them. We extract them from where they are. Where is there opportunity, we use that opportunity to make sure that we develop this country. Siyabonga, tatende.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, the beauty of interacting with professors is their ability to simplify complicated issues to a level where we get to the gist, we get to understand complex matters in a very, very simple way. And I think the professor has succinctly done that. Ladies and gentlemen, his remarks were not easy. You see, as professors, he tried to put social phenomena into an equation. Like Pythagoras, he simply said, PR is equal to food plus drink plus shelter plus water plus sleep. And he had to put sleep in the equation. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a no small conversation. And I would want to thank the professor for simplifying these complicated phenomena to us Zimbabwe, who are in here in Zimbabwe, and to those who are abroad. We have been enlightened. And to also add on to what the professor was saying, he says, wanting is easy, but then the whole conversation starts when we ask ourselves on how do we do it? How do we achieve it? He also says, how can a country without water not have jobs? Ladies and gentlemen, these were nuggets. The professor was trying to invoke conversations in our minds, was trying to inspire us, and he has successfully done that. He has also ended his speech by saying, we need to have order. We need to have order as a people. And he has also further gone on to say, let us work as a team. Ladies and gentlemen, I know in the Zimbabwean culture, we don't have a culture of giving a person a standing ovation, but with the permission of the House, allow me to invite everybody to stand up and clap hands for the professor for the resounding speech. Thank you very much. We may take our seats. Yes, it is not in our culture to give someone a standing ovation, But when such thought-provoking speeches are given, we need to appreciate the God that has been used to pour the wisdom from. Thank you so much, Professor Mugira. Ladies and gentlemen, proceeding with our program, I'm being told that we are supposed to break for tea, but I'm being told that they are still preparing it, but that will not stop us moving the program. Kindly bear with us. So at this point in time, allow me to invite a traditional dance group that is coming from Manicaland province to come and give us an entertainment piece. Whilst the group is coming, may I also invite the DJ to give us a piece of music as we digest the conversations that have been given unto us by our guests of honor. Ladies and gentlemen, the DJ, can you take it up whilst the entertainment dance group is coming? Thank you. We may also want to take time for a refreshing break.
Namdande ni kota na yo kwenyu zvakupera.
two. Two.
Ladies and gentlemen, during the short break, the interested parties that have come to us, and they said the Honorable Minister is quite a rare figure to meet and interact with due to his busy schedules, but we have some nuggets that we've picked from his conversations, and there are areas of clarity where we might want to ask one or two questions. Ladies and gentlemen, with the permission of the House, allow me to alter this and change it into a plenary session where we are supposed to react to the Minister's speech. Should we have anywhere where we want to ask questions, the Minister is here with us, and in my deliberations with him, he has said, ask anything, and he is prepared for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have some roving mics that are roving in the air. So, should you have a questions, I'll take the round of 3 questions. So, should you have any question, please raise up your hand, and the Minister will respond to it. Any questions that are coming from the House, stemming from the Minister's presentation? Also, those that are at the back, I might not be seeing properly. Those that might want to, because if you don't ask questions, we will ask again the Minister to speak, because he can speak for a day. Any question?
People must feel very free.
So he has said. People must feel very free. Yes, I'm seeing a question there.
Thank you.
I'm also seeing another question at the back there. Yes, you can proceed.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and allow me to thank the Minister for a wonderful presentation, which made us understand where we are headed to as Zimbabweans in relation to building our nation. Pardon me for not introducing myself. I'm Felix Maresha, and I came with a delegate from Mozambique. There are a few represented here. When I was listening to the minister, to the Honorable Minister's presentation, there's one point that I understood, which was wherever we are as the diaspora, we need to work towards building our nation. And one of the key points that he mentioned is that we need to work with Zimtrade. So my question is, do we have, apart from the consuls that we have in the different countries, do we have any individuals who are directly linked or who represent Zimtrade so that they can interact with the people in the diaspora and also make them understand how Zimtrade operates and what opportunities are available, apart from this gathering that we have right now, which is the third Zimbabwe Annual Diaspora Conference. That's my question. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We have another question at the back. Can you kindly raise up your hand?
Thank you. I'm Andrew Omure from the Office of the Provincial Chairman. I was following the presentation by the Minister. Key issues to note, Minister emphasized that we should work hard in our respective areas. So I have a question regarding to issues of shelter. He emphasized issue of shelter. Currently we are facing problems with the so-called land barons when it comes to issue of shelter. But on the other hand, we have responsible government entities or parastatals like local authority who should find land for the people, because it is the responsibility of government to protect its people. So my question is, what are the measures in place to capacitate our local authority to ensure that our people access land for shelter? Then there is aspect of what can we say, of people who talk bad about Zimbabwe. Going back to that graph he presented here, I think it's more like a suggestion. We have our local media, like ZADC and other registered radio stations. I'm of the opinion that whoever wants to hear about Zimbabwe should find that information through our registered media houses. But how? That's where the question is. I think in the area of media, as government, we should strengthen something towards issue of information dissemination. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Whilst we take the last question in this segment, may I also kindly request our sound engineer to come forward, please? The sound engineer. Yes, the next question, please.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. The Minister has given us a very enlightening presentation. My name is Jacob Chikuruo. I am the town clerk for Chegutu municipality. I wish to get some insight with regards to the issue of twinning arrangements that we would want as local authorities to be assisted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, particularly with the Look East policy. In the past, we used to have some twinning arrangements with quite a number of European countries. But ever since we had a change of policy, and we have now mostly adopted the Look East policy, we seem to be having very serious difficulties in harnessing twinning arrangements between our counterparts in the Asian nations. Previously, we have been even capital development, equipment, skills development, skills transfer, and so forth. But when we moved to the Look East policy, I would want really the Ministry of Finance to assist us in breaking the ice with the capitals or cities from the Asian side, so that we are able to benefit from twinning arrangements. If we could get that facilitation, I think we'll be very happy. As Chegutu municipality presently, we're trying to get some arrangement with some towns in the Asian region, but we don't seem to be making as much progress as we would expect in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. Ladies and gentlemen, we also, before the minister responds to the questions, we also have our online community that is joining us from various places from the globe. Those that have questions, we will also will come to the online community after the minister has responded to the questions. May I humbly invite the minister to respond to the first round of questions. A big round of applause as he comes to respond.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the interaction, for the questions. Amaresha, do we have individuals at Zimtrade? As I said, we have developed our strategic plan and our strategic directions that we are already implementing. In this house, I think we have Nkala, Mr. Nkala, who is here. And in terms of linkages, we really are working on that issue, that people have to be responsive and they have to work. That's why I was emphasizing that word. And I think Zimtrade, with their new strategic plan, are very good to work at. Yes, you can. It is possible to conduct Zimtrade directly. It is possible to conduct Zimtrade even through the Department of International Trade. It is possible to conduct Zimtrade through the Foreign Affairs generally. So there are people in Zimtrade, and I think they should also be having a way, because of this new strategy of engagement and active engagement, of making sure that they have a desk that makes sure that that happens. So in this house, Maresha, we have got Nkala, and Nkala you can discuss with him at any point. You can stand up, Nkala, too. There is Nkala. And I think we are ready to do our job, isn't it? Very good. And Andrew Humure, you talked about the issue of shelter, land barons. That issue is being tackled by the whole society, I think, on how people can be so powerful that they take 10,000 people and they hoodwink them. It's also something which is very intriguing. How 10,000 people can be cheated when the government says it's illegal, but it's still happening? Especially because in the context of diaspora, we have said we must have diaspora housing schemes, and I think these are the ones that we are talking about. I'm just trying to be contextual. So that, but the issue generally about land barons, I don't think the diaspora has to go to land barons. You'll be cheated. Let's do our things just properly. Because at some point I was saying, we are all Zimbabweans whether we are here or abroad, isn't it? Don't let people cheat you when the systems are there to be used. Because sometimes we also want shortcuts. And those shortcuts can be the very longest cuts sometimes. And he talked about, because land barons by definition they are illegal and should be attacked legally from any corner. There is people who talk bad about Zimbabwe. Yeah, there are people who do that. That's what I was saying. But us, we should not have any pain that sticks. I was saying something. You know, why I say let's work hard. We continue working hard to the extent that but take it because we are busy. I mean, as a people, we have to be very busy. Because sometimes we give them credence by answering them. You can't be answering to every hidden person. I mean, they are. Why are you hiding if what your point is? If your point is very important, why don't you come up in the open? Because they make you chase a lot of social media, and you waste your time. At some point, that's why I said, let's be very serious. Some people are just time wasters, right? So let's show them that they are time wasters, because why Zimbabwe is very peaceful is that the majority of the people here just want peace and progress. Despite all the attacks, this country is very stable, and it's going in a direction which I think is an envy of many. There are guns everywhere. You go to certain parts of Africa and parts of the world, guns every day. Boom, 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 boom. Zimbabwe, no matter what bad publicity that people can try to give, it doesn't stick. Because they say, if it's so bad, why is it peaceful? So, yeah, certain things are said to gain certain political mileages, but normally it tends to be a lie, so it doesn't stick. So that's why we always say the red line will always continue, but the blue line will persist. Achikuro, we have outlined the doctrine which says we're a friend to all and an enemy to none. At some point we said look east, but we don't necessarily have a policy called look east. We have a policy which says we're a friend to all and an enemy to none. But we know that our local authorities, there has to be a lot of work of twinning them with cities all over the world, especially the ones also in the east. I would know that I still remember last year we twinned Midlands with some region in Russia, for example. And we can have many of those linkages. And I think we are organizing ourselves as Ministry of Foreign Affairs through our SOPs in such a way that we are intending to operate the way the Ministry of Finance operates. What do I mean? There must be a desk officer for every ministry. If it's local government, there must be a desk officer that links the local government to the external. It who becomes the call point. And this is what we are working on right now in our SOPs. Because People cannot be receiving letters from everywhere. I know, for example, when I was at higher education working with the Ministry of Finance, we had a person at the Ministry of Finance who was responsible for higher education. And we knew who to talk to. So we are doing the same. We are doing the same in the shortest possible time to say for provincial, who is, or local government, who is responsible for linking in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? Who is responsible for Ministry of Finance? Who is responsible for the Ministry of Agriculture? Who is responsible? Because our job is to link the domestic to the foreign and the foreign to the domestic. And it cannot be effective if he has a desk to deal with that. A diaspora desk, for example. I hope I'm being clear. Because if we don't have a structure in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that reflects the government structure in terms of linkages, it becomes very difficult. You can't be receiving everything from everywhere. There must be a person who said, Minister of Local Government, there is a letter which is coming from China. So talk to the Minister of Local Government and then talk to China. So there must be that link. If there is not that link, there will be a problem. That's why I was showing that our domestic policy is, our foreign policy is a reflection of our domestic policy, going through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That green node has to wake up. That green node, which means Mofeit, has to wake up, has to have a responsive structure. And a responsive structure is that structure that reflects the structure of government. Because it is only through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that you can talk to Mozambique. It is only through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that you can talk to Malawi. It is only through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that you can talk to Saudi Arabia. So if the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is sleeping, there's nothing that will happen. So that's why we are working on that structural defect, which we are working on. So I hope, Achikuro, I'm answering that. But also, when we are linking with the outside world, we must not link it to beg. We must link to partner. I said, and I think I said it in 2023 at the trade, Zim trade, when I say Mr. X cannot talk to Mr. X. What does it mean? You have to be yourself in order to interact with the next person. The next person won't interact with you if you are trying to behave like that person. People want synergies. There is no synergy in sameness. I hope I'm trying to say something. There is no synergy in sameness. They are trying to be like, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, now I'm very careful about mentioning countries. You want to be like X, because otherwise they will say the Minister of Foreign Affairs mentioned our name. If you have got a person X or country X, and in all your behavior you are trying to be like country X, that country X will not have any interest in you, because you have nothing to add. How can I start to interact with somebody who wants to be Ammon? You can't be Ammon. I want to gain something from you. You cannot be a parrot, man. You understand? So in foreign relations, there is mutual interest. There cannot be mutual interest when it's only you who is interested and who want to be helped. A country with the highest mineral per capita, per person, is going with a golden bowl to beg for a cent. I hope I'm trying to be very candid. So, as Minister of Foreign Affairs, we have said, Zimbabweans should assert themselves and be partners. We don't entertain people who always, no, we have problems, and we have donors, we have come here, we have donors. What do I say? Oh, worry. What's your problem? This country should start to think business. Think business, think opportunity. Let people be interested in working with you because they have something to provide, not because you are the super beggar. No, super beggar. No, we actually, my children are suffering. Where did you have those children? My children are suffering. My uncle is suffering. I'm also suffering. Can you please also help me? And also, and then, no. Let's have the language of business. We have opportunities here. And we have saved the land here. And we have a special economic zone here. And we have got this, we can partner here. And I can have 20% interest. And you can have 80%. Or I can have 80%. So the language in Zimbabwe has to change when we are talking about foreign interactions. Because sometimes we say, I have brought investors. But why don't you take the diaspora company and go with it as a business delegation elsewhere? It's only you who has to have business delegations brought to you. Why? That's why we say Zimtrade, go out there in the world. What is the company that you found for Zambia? What is it called? Kala. Zambezi Trade Nexus. Yeah, Zambezi Trade Nexus shall be responsible for taking goods from here to DRC and Zambia and related countries. And all the people, then they organize clusters of people who produce those goods so that they can go with them. That's trade facilitation. You cannot say it's trade facilitation when you are just sitting in your office and you have got a title called trade facilitator. That's what's happening. Because this time for being candid. For people, I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, when you are just sitting in your office, what are you doing there? So I should also be criticized. For say, what are you doing except to say, I'm titled, here, this. My title. So, I hope I'm saying something. So the issue is the whole system has to shake and work. And the way we interact with the outside world is not for us to be donated to. It belittles this country. It's to work with people in good business deals. Good business deals and go out there with confidence. Not always say, yo, no, in our country we don't have this. In our country we don't have this. In our country we don't have education. And I would go with delegations. I would say, if I hear anybody saying we don't have this, you will never travel with me. You should be selling opportunity, not poverty. In our country, we have this opportunity, and we have that opportunity, and we have that opportunity, and we have that opportunity. And we are seeming to have problems in that area. We are working hard on it, but I think if we work together, you will be able to gain from it. So the language is to we have to drill my balls to the language of saying we can do a whole irrigation system. Gooseberries to your country. So Zimbabwe is at a stage whereby the president is trying by all means to change the language of this country from begging to business. Vachatotogadzira roti iwe uchite vachatotidai iwe uchingotiriwa vachatotidai vachatotidai murume mukuru wakadaro mukadzi mukuru wakaita sei. So the language is to change. I hope I've answered in general many other unasked questions, but we can continue asking.
Very much, Honorable Minister, for the responses that you have given unto us, to our questions. I'm also being guided that for those that are joining us online with their questions, may you kindly hold on a bit to those questions. We are coming back to you. We are kindly hold on to those questions. We are going back to you, and we'll give you an opportunity to come through and ask your questions. And ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed with the program, may I kindly ask members from the Leopard Rock team to come and organize some chairs for us at the front here for our coming session. Whilst they are doing that, I think we still have time to just pick one question for the minister from those that are online. So may you kindly beam us the online platform for questions whilst the Leopard Rock team is setting up some chairs here up front for the next conversations. Those that are managing the online platform. Yes, I can see another hand up in here. Please, may we just stick to one question, please? May we stick to one question? May we pass a mic to the gentleman in white there? And may we stick to one question, please? And also, those that are operating the online platform, please, the questions beamed on our projector there. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for the awesome work you've been doing. Your presentation was very technical, and it shows that the ministry is working with a lot of attention to detail. My question is there any resources online where we can access, as Zimbabweans in diaspora, where we can access the various resources that you and Zimtrade have been coming together with? Thank you.
I think this one will to this one whilst the online platform is coming up. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Yeah, one of our strategies is to make sure that we provide online resources. And I think Zimtrade, represented here by Ngala, is hearing it very clearly. One of the issues that we said we are going to do in our strategic plan is to do online a very comprehensive ICT system, information the system for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, particularly to do with trade. So just to answer you, I give them up to May to have that system up and running of inquiry. It's very simple to make. Gala, can you affirm 31 May? Thank you.
Thank you very much. You see, the challenge of working with the hands-on minister is you are actually given deadlines to respond and work on, and I think that's very, very commendable, ladies and gentlemen. That's being very pragmatic, so to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, for our online platform, we are facing some technical challenges, but I think it will be up just soon. Okay. So we see there are two hands that are joining us. Are we able to get some?
I can hear you with my counties. I don't know whether you can hear me. Hello. Can I go ahead?
Yes, proceed. Yes, communicate with the respondent from that point? Are you able to communicate with the respondent from that point? It's technology, ladies and gentlemen. Let's kindly bear with it. I think what we can do, in the best interest of our time, what we can do is we will allow them to type in their questions, and then we will pick them up from here, and then we will ask the Honorable Minister to respond. Yeah, so if you are hearing us, please kindly text in your question on the platform, and we'll read them out to the Minister, and the Minister will respond to you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are getting in the questions, allow me to proceed with our program. In as far as the Minister is concerned, he is here with us, and the questions will continue pouring in, Minister, if you may allow us. But in the best interest of time, may we proceed to the session where we are going to have a recap of the second Diaspora Investment Conference and Homecoming event. And in this platform, it's going to be an interactive session where we are going to have a representative from ZIMPSED, who is none other than Mr. Nkala, to come, and may also come up front. A big round of applause as he comes. We also have the Director of Economic Affairs in the Office of the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Masvingo Province. Madam, say, can you also come in and join us, Mr. Chingwaza? Mr. Chingwaza. And ladies and gentlemen, to facilitate this session, allow me to call upon Dr. Masese. Dr. Masese is coming from the Africa University. He is going to be the moderator of this session. A very big round of applause for Dr. Masese as he takes the podium.
Good afternoon to everyone. Like has been indicated, my name is Thomas Masese. I am with Africa University. Can we have the representative from ZIDA? Do we have somebody from ZIDA? Yeah, from ZIDA. Okay. Without much ado, we want to go into the discussions. The issue here is to recap on the second Diaspora Conference that happened in Masvingo. Maybe before I ask questions, we just wanted to give us an outline. We start with the provincial.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. My name is, instead of Chungwaya, I am Chingwara Cleo from Masvingo Province. So I will zero in on what transpired in Masvingo after the Zimbabwe Annual Diaspora Conference that was conducted in Masvingo. It was a joint exercise that was hosted by Masvingo Province and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. What actually transpired after that was that we had new investments that took place, because that was the conference was also coupled with the other promotional activities that we conducted as a province. That is, we had promotions at ZADC Industrial Week. We had promotions with our annual event that takes place. That is Masvingo Business Expo. We also had investment conference that was conducted at TF. We also had the agriculture show at the province, as well as at the international one. So with an investment value of about 190 million. That came to Masvingo. That was in 2024. And we had an increase in terms of GDP. That was 4.03%, and also a per capita income of about 2,835 due to investment that took place. And those investments took place in health, education, agriculture, and hydroelectric power, as well as tourism, farming, mining, real estate, health, and education. And this quarter, we've already received 13,120,000, that is in US dollars. And we also have 997,997,000 euros and $829, which came, and that investment is in Sasami area. We all know that our Sasami crop was being smuggled into Mozambique, and also our paprika was going to Mozambique. But now, due to investment that came through government of Italy, and is called the Seed for Future, we now process our Sasami here in Masvingo. And that project is worth, like I've said, 997. Right. In our prospectus, we still have outstanding investment, which is around $1 billion, where we are saying, please come and invest. We still have opportunities for grabs, which is around $1 billion. And like I said, we have areas like farming, mining, real estate, health, and education. However, we received a lot of investor inquiries from our diasporan community, and they were given the opportunities to invest in some of our districts, like in particular we mentioned Chivi Road Council and Mwenes Road Council. But these people, when they came, they were given pieces of land and they did nothing to it. So which means they were actually getting land for speculative purposes. So we also have a lot of middlemen coming, and they do a lot of name dropping when they come to our province. And you know, they promise a lot to our investors who come. At the end of the day, they cause a lot of fatigue to our investors. And that investment, which they propose would be done in our province, the investment is never done, as the investors will be fatigued. Right? We had a lot of inquiries again from embassies like Italy. Like I said, Italy has already invested in Seed for Future. We have a lot of investment from inquiries from Japan, South Korea, India, UAE, Turkey, and these people, they also want some twinning arrangements with our local authorities. This is what transpired after the Diaspora investment conference, and quite a number of other promotional activities that we did. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chungwaru. It sounds very promising. It looks like we should be getting more from Manicaland than you guys. Thank you very much. Mr. Ngala, can you give us a brief on your experience from the last conference?
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. First, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the guest of honor, who is also our Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Professor Dr. A. Murura. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Manicaland Province, Honorable Advocate M. Gata. And in the interest of time, I will say all protocol observed. I think as ZimTrade, we believe that the diaspora have got a very key role in terms of, and also are more like a part of the engine to shape Zimbabwe's vibrant landscape of opportunity and growth. So in terms of my recap, I'll just touch on, firstly, in terms of our trade performance. I think last time we had reported that in terms of our exports, I know most people usually ask, are we exporting? Are we exporting? And in our last Diaspora conference, we had reported that our exports had increased from 3.9 billion in 2013 to 7.2 billion in 2023. So we are also happy to report that as of December 2024, our exports increased to 7.43 billion. And in terms of the value-added exports, we know that for us to prosper as a country, there is a need for us to move up the value chain. So there is still a lot of work in terms of us, in terms of the promotion of value-added exports. And through our guidance from the Honorable Minister, where there is also now a special focus on local production. I think that's the direction that we are taking, also starting from this year. In terms of export of value-added products, they marginally decreased last year by about 2.5%, where the total figure was 448 million. I think the other key issue that we discussed in the last Diaspora conference was the issue of our export markets, where I think in the past 5 or 10 years, we've been reporting that the bulk of our exports were going up 45% plus, were going mostly to South Africa. But we are seeing a shift in terms of our exports, of which as of end of last year, our largest trading partner was UAE, with exports totaling about 2.65 billion. Then South Africa is now our second export destination, then also followed by China. But the key thing as well is that these three countries are also now taking about more than 70% of our exports. So there is a need for us to also work on terms of diversification of our export markets. So there are a number of programs that we have in place so that we make sure that we diversify our exports. Because if these three countries catch a cold, we know what will happen to us as a country. Then there is also, I've spoken about the issue of the composition of our exports, where the bulk of our exports are more on the primary products, mostly minerals and tobacco. So that emphasis to say that we need to move up the value chain has been a special focus for us. I think from the last conference, as ZimTrade, through the guidance from our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, the issue of, first, the issue of local production. We have also working with some farmers in Mutoko to start the actual production in terms of us involving them in the production of peas. We've also worked with other, in terms of the formation of clusters, where we have a cluster in Midlands that is for last year and this year they are producing about more than 100 tons of peas. These are communal rural farmers that are now into the process in terms of getting into production and being part of the export process. So from local production, what we are going to do is that we are also working in terms of the formation of aggregation. And so I'm sure through the also partnerships with the diaspora, it will be a good way in terms of them partnering with us so that they can be part of this initiative. I think when we're forming the clusters, we always talk about caring a community. Instead of us making the diaspora, or being in Harare, being in Bulawayo, or being in Peru, we have a background. So in our background, I'm from Eswatini. So when you're from Eswatini, we need to find out what are the things that are available in Eswatini. What are we doing to bring Eswatini or Mrambinda to be part of the export process? Because we can talk about the figure of 7.4 billion as a country. Who is exporting? How can we bring each district of Zimbabwe to be part of the export process? So through local production, aggregation centers, as well as the e-market warehouses that we are forming, we believe that these will go a long way in terms of assisting us in increasing our exports. And as the Honorable Minister mentioned, that we also want to get into partnerships for the logistical support, because logistics is everything. You get it wrong when it comes to everything. There is no way we can get our product competitively in a certain market. We have done market researches in South Sudan. We have done market researches in Angola. But the key thing is, how do we take our product to that market? So through some of these partnerships, being part of, also us being part of making sure that we have a link on the logistics side, we will make sure that we deliver our product competitively in some of these markets. And also, Honorable Minister, you mentioned the Zimbabwe delegation that went to Walvis Bay. I'll now also zero in terms of what we are doing with the diaspora. We went to Walvis Bay, I think it was about 3 or so weeks ago. There were some engagements with the diaspora community. We are happy to say that through that connection, there is a Zimbabwean business person who is based in Windhoek, who we are also in final discussions with for the supply of fruits and vegetables to Zimbabwe. As the minister said, when we do these missions, it's not about talking, it's about the doing. So we are really trying to make sure that we do the actual work when we visit these countries and cities. We have recently done market scans and market surveys in Uganda and Beira. And you'll be surprised when we visited Beira, I think it was about 2 or so weeks ago, proton bread was seen in Beira. So if something is bread, proton, lobos, and other, let me put all the other brands, they are also, I'm sure it's through our diaspora who introduce some of these products, and people also now are starting to like the product. So if we were to form some of these warehouses, we make sure that the product is delivered to the market, and there is the speed to market whereby all these products that are in demand from our country, they are brought closer to the diasporans and also to the Mozambicans. It will also go a long way in terms of us increasing our trade to those countries. And through this, during these market scans, both the Uganda and the Beira, we always make sure that we have an engagement with the diasporans. It's just like when you're going to a country, you get off at the airport. Most of the information that you get is when you are going to your hotel with the taxi driver. They give you as much information as possible about what is happening. So even us as Zimtrade, when we go through to these countries, we get as much information as possible in terms of what's available, what are the cultures, and so on. Then we have also engaged, like say, in the UK, we have worked with other diasporans, the BPO Africa Connect, where the founder, the CEO is in the diaspora community. We're working with him to also assist Zimbabwean brands to increase or grow their presence in the UK market. There are also other partnerships. Zambezi Foods, they're also in the UK. They have done some great work in terms of promoting Zimbabwean products in that market. So we are also doing that. And also I'm sure there is, as part of the diasporians that are doing something, we also worked with another diasporian who is based in Botswana to push Mazoe and Sereveta. I'm sure he will give his testimonial during during this conference. And for us as Zimtrade, we are more than looking forward in terms of further engagements, in terms of how best we can increase our exports, also together working with the diasporan community. I thank you.
Thank you very much for that update. Maybe just to ask a few questions, a few follow-up questions. You spoke about a lot of inquiries that are happening in Masvingo. What mechanisms are in place to follow up with the diaspora investors who expressed interest in those opportunities that came after the conference? Do you have a desk where the diasporians can actually, an access point to the province where diasporians can actually send their inquiries and get feedback?
Actually, what we do is we invite them to come and present to our Provincial Development Committee. They come and present their project proposals. And after they have presented, we make some inquiries with our Provincial Investment Committee to say if the project is desirable for the province. If they are agreeable that this project is desirable, we then write a letter of support to them, give them letters of support, which then they take to our local authorities or to any MTA for approval. After that, if the letter of inquiries are approved, then they start the project. Thank you.
Directed to any one of you. It's, are we effective with the networking opportunities during the last conference in terms of raising interest in the opportunities in Masvingo?
In Masvingo, we were again invited to UK for the UK Business Expo. Okay. And our minister went there. I was supposed to go there, but due to visa procedures, I couldn't go. But our minister went there and presented on the opportunities in Masvingo. And again today, our minister is in Abu Dhabi, signing an agreement for ZESA, attending a signing ceremony with the ZESA for a solar project which is going to generate 30 megawatts, and it has a capacity to produce 300 megawatts. So that signing ceremony is in progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe I can briefly open, maybe the last question, it will be directed to the minister. How is the government planning to further support diaspora investors? Are there any new policies or incentives that are in the horizon?
In terms of trade policies, I think a lot has been happening. There is a committee that is there through the Office of the President and Cabinet that is looking into issues of ease of doing business so that we can improve on all the issues I think that were discussed in the last conference in terms of the challenges that the diasporans are facing. So I think most of those things are work in progress. I think there was also a pronouncement by the Minister of Finance, and that in the next 6 months there will be a revision in terms of issues to do with ease of doing business that will also assist our diasporans when they invest in Zimbabwe.
We are going to have our very explicit policy. I talked about the, today, I talked about the principles of that policy. The pillars is basically diaspora support, to make sure that we are supporting our people at home and at abroad. And in terms of the diaspora, especially my last sentence in the presentation was, Where they have adversity, we support them by extracting them from where they are. Where there is opportunity, we provide them with the highway to invest and do many things. Our job is to support our diaspora. And wherever they are, there are different opportunities. There are markets. So if they can come to invest, not to sell goods in Zimbabwe, but to sell back where they are. To me, it's the best foreign policy that we can ever do. Don't do vegetables to grow to sell to Mbare when they're in diaspora. Come and invest to grow vegetables so that you can sell them back where you are. Then the country can earn something while they are also doing their business. So we are in the process of, we'll finish this, the documentation of this policy now. But in terms of implementation, we have done cluster development with Zimtrade. Very well documented, and now they are in the action mode. Because I said, you guys, you now have very nice strategies, but let's do. Because doing is the issue, really. Doing is the issue. Because as learned people, we have 98% literacy as a country. So reading and writing, people can read and write, and they can sit, and that's why they write on Twitter a lot. But the issue is, let's put thought to our heads now, so that we can do things. So the policy environment is very encouraging. It's there. If there is anything that our people in the diaspora need as support, as a policy statement to support them, let them say it today so that I can go and put it in the policy document before I go to cabinet. Thank you.
I want us to end here. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to add to say our master plan for Dugu Nkosi will be ready, will be gazetted in June, end of June. So there will be an influx of investors coming for the purpose of investing in and around Dugu Nkosi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sorry, through you, Master of Ceremonies, just one thing. With regard to inquiries through you, Minister, we have a platform called tradezimbabwe.com. So it's an online platform that is already available. So for those with inquiries that want to engage Zimtrade, please let's use that platform. Then we also have www.tradezimbabwe.com. www.tradezimbabwe.com. Thank you. Then we also have another platform called Shop at Zim, where our SMEs can also put their products, advertise their products, so that they can be linked with the export markets. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chibara and Mr. Ngala. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very big round of applause for Dr. Masese and the team that was here. Thank you very much for the session that we have just had. There is a lot that is happening, but like what the minister has said, the documents we have, the policies we have, but action, action, action. Let us work. Honorable Minister, just to give you a bit of some feedback that is coming from our online platform, we have Mr. Lakshad Shangwa, who is joining us from Angola. He is basically thanking you, the Honorable Minister, for this conference, and he is also saying, whilst we are having these engagements, may we also sensitize our various diaspora constellations that they are also responsive and are also alive to the agents that we have in Zimbabwe. These issues, they should be expedited expeditiously, and may you sensitize your teams outside there to be responsive enough when the diasporans come to their offices. Otherwise, that's what Mr. Lakshad from Angola is saying. We also have Mr. Dennis Zimba, who is joining us from Australia. He is also thanking you, the Honorable Minister, for the partnerships that we've had, and also he is saying he has received tremendous support from your office that has culminated into the signing of a memorandum of understanding with Shamva Agriculture College, and he is saying he is looking for investors to develop the 900 plus hectares of land that the college has. And he is saying as a diasporan, as a Zimbabwean living in the diaspora, he is so eager to join hands and develop our beloved motherland, Zimbabwe. So these are the feedbacks that we have. Maybe we might need to give a round of applause for the diaspora community that is joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, to proceed with our program, I know for sure that I do not deserve to call upon the next speaker that I am going to call upon to the podium to speak. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. If you see this gentleman coming, he's got some few pronouncements. My apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. The man that you have just seen is the man who is standing between us and food. So he was giving us some few housekeeping rules. And our lunch will be served at 1:30. So I've just been advised. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another hard worker amongst us who, in his wisdom, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe has sent. And if we are to speak of his CV, we'll go in and on. But this man, ladies and gentlemen, one thing for sure, in my few interactions with him, he is also a pragmatist, somebody who believes in results. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to call upon the Secretary for Presidential Affairs and Devolution, Engineer Muguti, to come and give us his remarks. Over to you, Engineer. A big round of applause as he comes.
Sorry, media team, I'm a bit tall. I can just... whilst they're fixing the mic, I'll just bend over. Thank you, Honourable Minister. I see servant leadership, that's what it does. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Thank you very much. Let me begin by honoring our guest of honor for this event, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, my big brother, Professor Dr. Amon Murira. Let me also honor the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Manicaland Province, another big brother of mine, Advocate Mugadza, who's the Honorable Minister, and another big brother of mine, the Secretary for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for this province, Comrade Marongwe. And in absentia, Ambassador Jimbindi, my very good brother as well, who's out on mission. Honorable Minister, allow me to give my remarks in terms of devolution. And I know that this has been a very big topic of discussion. And many people have been asking questions. And I want to thank you, Honourable Minister, for involving my Office of Presidential Affairs and Devolution to be able to categorically state what devolution is and how diasporans can be able to address some of their challenges and how government is now pragmatically moving forward. You have heard that all ministries, departments and agencies, our interface or our conduit to the rest of the world is through Foreign Affairs and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. I'd like to also tell you that within the same spirit, in his wisdom, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, also saw it fit that there has to be a conduit for the provincial governments to be able to also be seamlessly coordinated. And in September 2023, a special office for presidential affairs and devolution was established by His Excellency. And part of that mandate is to drive provincial economic development and also drive initiatives that have to do with presidential matters. Having said that, a paradigm shift also occurred where His Excellency have had him time over time saying economy, economy, economy. And so what it means is that in the past, we did have a drive more towards administrative. So Zimbabwe, we had district administrators, we had provincial administrators. And part of the journey that we've traveled is we've now changed those from district administrators to district development coordinators. And from district development coordinators, we had provincial development coordinators. And I was honored to be the inaugural provincial development coordinator for Harare Metropolitan Province before being ascended to this position. So having said that, I would like to also just highlight that the government of Zimbabwe has got two main wings. And this will guide many people in the room and those in our online community to understand practically how government is structured. Firstly, we have the legislative arm, and these are our law or our policy makers. And we find many times that diasporans will go and try to get into a province through the MP or through the councillor. This is not the case. Our lawmakers are there to provide the laws of the country. And on the legislative side, we've got parliament right at the top, and we've got provincial council, and this is enshrined in our constitution, in chapter 14 of our constitution, which deliberately articulates that there shall be 3 tiers of government. And those 3 tiers of government are well represented within the executive sector, where we find having cabinet, which is basically run by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. We've got the Provincial Development Committee, which is also driven by the Ministers of State and Devolution. And then we have the Local Development Committee, which is mainly run by the town clerks or the CEOs of rural district councils. Next slide. Having said that, next slide. Many years ago, we found that, please can you give me the slide, the second slide? Go backwards, please. Yes, thank you. Many years ago, when I grew up, my grandfather and I believe also my 2 elder brothers, the honorable ministers, remember, we had something called Vitico. I'm pronouncing it the Shona way, Vitico. And Vitico was your village development committee. And whenever people wanted to discuss, they would really go under this big tree and they would debate issues. And those issues we discussed, and even if at ward level, people would discuss with what was called Wadco. Honorable ministers, yesterday I had the privilege of visiting one of in Wesa, up past Regina in Nyanga, and we're going to witness some of the projects that UNDP has done in that area through the Office of the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Manicaland, Honorable Mukadza. And when we got there, we found a Vitico in motion, where all the headmen were there and matters of development were being discussed. And so you'd find that so many times we've got a challenge where we plan for the people of Masvingo without the people. We go and plan for the people of Narira in Chikomba without the people of Narira. And so many challenges that we have is that when we believe we're given this big offices, Honorable Minister, we find ourselves all of a sudden with this intellectual glorious power to be able to. As a result, we fail to match the opportunities before us, because sometimes we end up putting cattle where they do not cattle. Processing plants for peanuts where they do not grow. Going up. And so with that in mind, that then filters of people are truly saying. Having said that, views, and then the locals are calling find that sometimes we've been lacking in the capacity of our local authorities. This country was well known for going around with a begging bowl. And we would go to our sovereign, to our other, give us money. There's no money in the world which is there for free. And so coming up with wisdom so fit for provincial affairs and devolution. In other countries, they're called premiers. In other countries, they're called governors. Becomes the economic development champion of that province. And as a result, we've tasked these honorable ministers and their offices to come up with provincial economic development plans. Yes, you heard right. Every province now has an economic development plan which is aligned to the National Development Blueprint. So there's nothing peculiar that is going to occur in Manicaland which you will not see as part of our development blueprint at a national level. So we have tasked them to say, with the priority areas, what are you doing in natural resources empowerment? What are you doing in terms of devolution? What are you doing in terms of infrastructure development? And to aid them, the Office of the Minister of State now has 55 people in the Office of the Minister of State to be able to coordinate governance across provinces. And this simply means that they now have an infrastructure development, planning and development department, which now has. So if you are in the diaspora and you have an idea of how you can captivate an opportunity, write in the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, and together with the Secretary of State for that province, they can be able to work with you to make sure that that project is banked. Having said that, there are simple laws which we are abiding by. Of course, we know that we are working towards a robust devolution act as the country, but we're also working hard at coming up and perfecting the Provincial Councils and Administration Act, which we are amending now to the Provincial Councils Bill, which will be the overall act, where we are hoping that the Provincial Council acts as the provincial parliament, where they are superseding and overseeing provincial bylaws. By the way, Zimbabwe is a unitary state. We are not a country which has other countries in it. I'm afraid to name those countries just in case they say the brother to the Foreign Affairs Minister also mentioned a country. So we're a unitary state. Means that every law, every act that comes at a provincial bylaw, at a local bylaw, is subservient to a national act. So we cannot talk about water management. We cannot talk about the water bill as the city of Chegutu if we are not making it subservient to the National Water Act. So what we are simply making sure is that all provincial councils can come up with a variety of provincial bills that they want their people in their province to abide by, which then guide the local authority bills. I would like to also mention that for a very long time, you found that as a country since 1985, we've operated with two tiers of government, that being central government and the local authority. And this has resulted many a times in central government ministries parachuting directly into local authorities and then jetting out. Not understanding is one of the key things that we need to drive at. Yesterday we had the opportunity, Honorable Minister Guest of Honor, of coming about and seeing a fantastic project which has helped one of our hospitals in Manicaland. But because we had a ministry or a department which had parachuted and brought itself without the convenience of the whole of the province, we started seeing that the solar plant was installed at the hospital, connected. Community, including the hospital, this was not done. So we are now addressing those issues. Next slide. So one of the things that we're trying to address, Honorable Minister and dear colleagues and all those international logged in, is we're addressing what is called DET, which is the detailed establishment table of every single arm of government. One of the things that we're working towards, it's written proposed because it's going to go to all stakeholders for verification and contribution, is that we're saying that we are seeing a top-heavy structure in most of our government departments, and yet the people on the ground are the ones who need to be serviced. So in his wisdom, His Excellency is looking forward to having, instead of an upside, having an upright triangle, with less people at provincial and even greater number of people at the local services. This will help us in ensuring that if you come from the diaspora and you enter into an office, you will find someone behind the desk. Even if that someone is out doing projects, you'll find someone. We have many cases of people who fly in and they want to apply for land and they hear, mukura up. And that's it. End of story. No one can assist you. To our European and Western friends, mukura hapo, meaning that the big man is not around. And basically, that's the end of the story. We want people in Zimbabwe and those from the diasporans who are also Zimbabweans to be able to access services where they are. We are also looking at devolving our budgets, our fiscal planning, so that at the end of the day, when we go into our offices, it's not only head office, which looks lovely, but it's almost like the McDonald's approach that in America, you go to South Africa, you see the same colors, you see the same furniture type. It's the brand Zimbabwe that we want to be able to carry. So gone are the days where we want to find ministries with desks in provinces and districts which are anchored by bricks. Where there's a car in Nigeria, they call it kabuka, which is almost looking like it's falling apart. And yet it is representing the image of the government of Zimbabwe. So should the minister go anywhere in the world and say that Zimbabwe is a state of excellence, any corner within here in Zimbabwe, in our nation, we should be able to smell, we should be able to see, we should be able to feel excellence at work. Next slide. Next slide. I'm going to jump over that. Next slide. Yes. So in terms of our fiscal devolution, we are working now that central government will be devolving its fiscal responsibility to provincial government, and provincial government devolve to government. Why is this necessary? Of health has been given $1 billion. And see how that $1 billion Lotito. We want to be able to see how that $1 billion impacted Lotito. We don't want a situation where we find that 80% of the $1 billion. And that when we go down to the grassroots, people are still inquiring, putting year on year things on budgets which are not being fulfilled. So you then find that the fiscal administrative authority is downwards, and you then find that accountability is also there so that everyone is accountable. So you'd find that on the governance side of things as well, we are simply saying as well there has to be now upward accountability. The same officers being given resources at district level and at local level and at provincial level should also be accountable going upwards. So one of the things that His Excellency has done, Honorable Guest of Honor, is that we've now created a consolidated dashboard where all the information coming through from the provinces is now consolidated into a 5-page report for His Excellency where he's getting regular briefs. And that has started showing us gaps in areas. But of course, since we are now, we're still young and agile, one of the things that we do, Honorable Minister, is that we are not a government that sits behind the desk and just say, His Excellency said this. We are government officials that travel. And I can tell you that within a space of 7 days, we can travel 3-4 provinces, going able to see what you're saying in the report. Is it what exactly that we are getting? Next slide. So on planning and development, it's the same thing, where the Office of President and Cabinet has been working very well in terms of with MDAs to ensure that we have the provincial economic development plans and to ensure that we have the local development side. Please note, in line with the conduit that the Honorable Minister showed us, you'd find that everything I'm talking about is not foreign policy, it's domestic policy. It's us preparing so that when those diasporans come, when those investors come, this government is well structured to be able to attend to that. And because of the new that you were talking about, and so many times people just throw blame when issues that they don't know about, I put this specifically for them to show them that even the political leadership of this country is also aware of what we are doing. That's something that also sits within our office. And so you'd find that when Politburo speaks, Parliament listens, Cabinet listens, provincial councils listen, local councils listen. So tomorrow when you say, oh, ZANU-PF is not doing this for us, it's rightfully so, because through resolutions which are addressed to Cabinet, they'll be able to put across various strategic plans which come in place. Honorable Minister, let me conclude by addressing just a few things. Honorable Minister, it is important that we work very closely with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. Firstly, to assist in the packaging of our provinces, for you to be able to dress them well before investors. And one of the challenges that we have had and which we have addressed was that information was not readily available. I'm happy to say that we launched the enhanced communication program within the office, and the whole of last year, for the first time ever, we got all our ministers of state to go on Face the Nation on TV. And we're now hoping to take that content and even put it on platforms such as DSTV so that the whole world knows. And I'm very happy to say that they were getting asked tough questions and they were answering. And because they did so well, we've rewarded them to the delight of many with quarterly interviews on Face the Nation, where now each minister goes and tells the nation what they've done over the last 3 months. And that's very important. Of talking and talking. We are saying, Honorable Minister, you are now the chief economist in your province. Tell us, what did you achieve? Honorable Minister, I'm hoping economic affairs and investment, and they are the ones who have come here today to visit the secretaries. And so when that question was asked, I was hoping my director was going to say, I am the door, I am the desk. He is the desk. So you'd find directors for economic affairs and investments are now the desk for investment into the province. The challenge we've had is that sometimes Chinhoyi municipality is running a tangent by itself, and even the Minister of State does not know. So we found some cases where the Minister of State is selling the same investment opportunity, the local authority is selling the same, and we are not basically putting our resources together to. The head of the province remains the Minister of State, and so we want to be able to speak with one voice and package those. Likewise, local authorities are now being encouraged that their local economic development plan should speak into the provincial economic development plan. Gone are the days where the local authority is going left and the province is going right. And so that will help us to be able to assimilate those issues. Honorable Minister, one of the things that we have seen as well is that we are only as good as the level of our exposure. I remember when escalators came into Zimbabwe and some housewives would carry their maids, and you'd find that the madam was very quick on getting on, but the maid would just be testing that thing to see if it would not suck up the leg, because she had never seen such an escalator in her life. We are only as good as the level of our exposure. So if we do not send the right people for benchmarking missions, we will remain stagnant. Honorable Minister, one of the things that my office is fighting, we are not in the business of employing tourists as the government of Zimbabwe. Any government official who travels on the merit of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Investment and International Trade should be well capacitated, should be knowledgeable and capable to be able to dissect what's being discussed. for us to address the sleep and health, for us to address the transport and communication. So the government of Zimbabwe for a long time has been entertaining professional government tourism. That has ended. Honorable Minister, part of the things that we require is that so many times the ability to speak in front of money is almost a challenge for a traditional government employee. And one of the things that we love about your ministry, Honorable Minister, it can avail capacity development in terms of even diplomacy training. I believe that every senior government official who's going to interface with anyone of the foreign nations, with anyone within the diaspora, has to have some form of diplomatic training. One of the challenges we have is if you do not have diplomatic training, you cannot recognize seniority when it walks into the room. You cannot recognize that this person is responsible for something and afford them the respect they deserve. We've had complaints of some of our government officials, Honorable Minister, when they are on mission. They do not attend these workshops. They are busy gallivanting, shopping. And I've witnessed for myself. And so when we have this diplomatic training, it allows us to have a caliber of government officials that can be able to converse, that can be able to transform, that can be able to bring everything out the way we want it. So, Honorable Minister, it is my humble pledge that as we drive devolution, our diasporan community needs to remember the words that you have spoken about. You are not aliens to the Republic of Zimbabwe. You are, in fact, Zimbabweans. The only difference is demography. If you leave your mother's house and go to the city, it does not remove the totem. It does not remove your surname. It does not remove your name. Neither does it change your identity. It just means that you stay in the city. So you are our brothers and sisters in the city. Do not alienate yourselves based on the toxic rhetoric that is pronounced on social media by people who were donkeys here and they are still donkeys in the UK. Do not do that. Understand that the fellow comrades who are here and are here to be able to serve you just as you are there to be able to serve them. And what is critical is to understand in spiritual notion, you cannot harvest, you cannot reap what you are not blessed. So when you curse your country, do not expect any fruit to come from that country. And so as it is in Zimbabwe, we need to
don't want to be in my shoes. It's very difficult to speak after a professor has spoken, and let alone it's all. This eloquent. In tertiary education sector, we know very well that engineers are Nia Muguti has proved me wrong. And engineer would want to thank you very much for highlighted the power of devolution and how is dealing and handling the issue to do with devolution, which we must confess, it's a new phenomenon that has come unto us. And what I liked so much in his speech is he is giving us the corporate government superstructure that he has laid down, that is going to package the provinces that we have. So that when we go out there and sell Zimbabwe, selling it the destiny, he is succinctly done that. I like the word succinctly, by the way. And he has also highlighted the issue to do with professional tourism. We must confess, we have seen this happening. People go out and, they simply go out to shop and do funny business. And they don't have fully put us back on our track on what we need to do when we embark on these missions. But above all, he has also tried to be very diplomatic. The issue to do with speaking in front of money. We might check this slightly, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen it with my eyes, where you have a very big person coming to you, a very big investor coming at the table, and the people that are leading you in the discussions, one, they are as clueless as Tom and Jerry, and secondly, they are pitching them so lowly in front of money. And I believe the Minister of Foreign Affairs is going to take this seriously to say, who do we put on the table to negotiate for us? Who do we put on the table to give us deals? Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Engineer Muguti for unpacking this. Thank you very much, Engineer. Like we did with Honorable Professor Morwira, again, the engineer will not go unpunished, ladies and gentlemen. For those of us who have got questions, it is now punished. Engineer, let us discuss.
Devolution committee, the legislative framework, I think it's taking too long for government to align, say, the urban council, then able to operate in the confines of the law as far as devolution is concerned. Probably we may want to get an indication of how much time are we looking at for these processes to be completed. I understand that they started a long time ago, like the constitution. To the constitution.
Thank you very much. Another
federal state. Problems because basically now we got all the country that is economic confirm it is His Excellency himself. He is the who's chairing devolution himself. So we know that it is part of his to be able to deliver, but he's also the key person who's driving for that. But you'd find under devolution, right now, you governor It's via local government and devolution. And going to be driven by the local development committee. So a lot of changes are going to come in place, but we'll also undergo a stakeholder consultation where we'll call everyone and say, this is the route we are going. I'm happy to say that the current UNDP country representative, who was the chief economist for UN and regional coordinator in South Africa, Desula, is the man who also wrote the devolution concept for about 6 countries on the continent. So he has also excellency to work with my office, and he was just yesterday here in Manicaland meeting the minister, and we are going around the country trying to research. And we don't.
Diplomacy